What's this? Ah!
Tomb Raider 2 is the successor to the hit game Tomb Raider. It follows Lara on yet another journey where she has to find ancient relic pieces to stop someone from getting an amazing power. Except this time, she raids fewer tombs, fights more humans, has hair physics, and no longer has triangle boobs. But don't worry, she still kills plenty of endangered animals.
That's true. Laura couldn't cook for herself. It's Laura.
Hi, I'm RottenPapi, and welcome to Zoomer Reviews. So, I played this game for the first time 25 years after it came out. So, does it hold up? Well, let's talk about it. It only came out 1 year after the first game, which is so fast. Yet, it still had several quality of life improvements. Health packs and ammo are now stolen off of dead bodies instead of found randomly in tombs left by some unknown person.
Oh, whoops! Oh, I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dom.
There's now vehicles, and you can now save anywhere, including on console versions. No more save crystals. The tutorial is still in Lara's home, but has been greatly improved upon. It now features an outdoor course you practice your skills on, a maze, multiple rooms to explore, secret doors, oversized house furniture, and this guy.
Is he okay? I think him just even being a butler's elder abuse.
It has a little bit of everything, which I think could help loads with the learning curve of this game. Lara challenges the player to complete her obstacle course in 2 minutes, so you don't actually have to. Plus, it has the added fun of locking the butler in the meat freezer.
Where's it going? Did he just fart and then moan? That's it! Back in the fridge! Where are you going?
The story for this game was much easier for me to follow. Maybe because I read the manual,
Look at her though. She looks so cute here. Oh my god.
but also there is now this funky little thing that lets you watch the story so far each time you play, so you don't get lost. This led me to recapping the story before each play session, which I really enjoyed.
Alright, so it's very obvious what's happening here. As you can tell.
The basic premise is that there is a dagger that when plunged into a person's heart turns them into a dragon. A long time ago, an emperor of China used it and warrior monks managed to take it from him and seal it away in the Great Wall of China. But now, thousands of years later, people are trying to get the dagger, and Lara is one of them. So, the game starts off with Lara heading to the Great Wall of China. In said Great Wall of China, we start off strong by killing our first endangered animal, the Bengal tiger.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Ah! Yep, that was definitely on my list of animals I wanted to kill.
This game really eases the player into the game by making him go through this.
Ah! Ah! Okay. What? Ah!
But just when you got through that, there's this.
What? Oh my god!
Then this.
What is this? Ah!
And this.
Whoa! Run! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! 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 Ah!
So if by this point you haven't done the tutorial or you don't have the controls figured out, this is your wake-up call to get good. Once you're done, you arrive to a cutesy little campfire near a giant door.
Dear Diary, I went to the Great Wall of China today, and I set up a camp. Ah, I'm on fire! Ah!
And that's when our adventure truly begins. So Lara meets this dude at the door. He says that if Lara wants in, the door only opens for the right person at the right time. Lara asks who that right person might be, and the man responds by cheersing himself to the great Marco Bartoli and drinks poison that instantly kills him. With his cheersing to Marco Bartoli, that leaves us a hint as to who we're looking for. Luckily, near that campfire we saw earlier, I guess this guy just left his laptop out, and within seconds, Lara just finds a picture of Marco Bartoli's front door, and she must be a GeoGuessr pro or something, because she knows exactly where that is. So we head to Venice. Venice is a really nice introduction to show exactly in what ways Tomb Raider 2 is different from the first game. The level is not only more colorful than basically the entirety of the first game, it shows off houses, real human enemies, not just animals, although we do kill a bunch of guard dogs now, because of course we do, and we have a fun little boating section.
Fuck!
Upon playing this, I actually noticed that there was level music on loop, which never happened in the previous game, and also never happened in any of the other levels after this.
I did some research on Venice for this game, and what people don't know is that this song does in fact play on loop every time that you walk around Venice in real life.
So I looked into it, and it actually turns out that it was a glitch, and people in Venice don't actually listen to this song on loop. This is the saddest discovery I've ever made. The puzzles in Venice are essentially the same as the first game in a fresh new area, which in my opinion is the perfect way to do a sequel like this. We also have a new thing where we can break through glass to find new areas, and just look at the detail we have in this level.
Versus the other Tomb Raider, like we got plants, we got decorations, we got
The one thing I will say about these little details is that the human environment elements are really off scale.
I have a question for you. Is this what your sink looks like too? This is the size of a fucking bathtub.
But in Venice, it only gets worse.
I think that Marco Bartoli is a giant. Or maybe this is all built for like when he is a dragon, you know? Like they just built the furniture bigger.
These candles are the same size as Lara. And just look at these chandeliers. It reminds me of Tubba Blubba's castle from Paper Mario. No, it literally is like the same proportions.
This is a load of barnacles.
However, I do love the chandelier puzzle. Something about it is just so charming to me.
What? Oh my god, what are you doing there? Don't let him, no! What is he doing up in the fucking rafters, just sitting in a dark corner by himself?
We maneuver through Marco Bartoli's house, which we know is his house because it's the name of the level, to find inside it a secret room that leads us to an underground opera house? This man is living lavishly. We come to find that this opera house seems largely abandoned, but despite that, there are lots of guards and dogs here, so they must be expecting someone like us to be snooping through here.
What the fuck?
Okay, new conspiracy theory. Maybe that guy at the door didn't actually poison himself and he just posts up there and waits for people to come to the door in search of the dagger. Why did he have a picture of the hideout's front door just on his laptop, like open over there? Like, what's the point of that? Why'd any of that happen? Maybe he wants us to go to Marco Bartoli's so that the henchmen can take us down. But Lara's built different, so it didn't work this time. Some things that I love about the human enemies in this game is, one, they're not Pierre from the first game, who would just show up, shoot you into oblivion, and take all the shots until you looked away so he could despawn.
Good thing I always carry around all this ketchup, otherwise these bullets would really hurt.
These guys actually die, but they do have Pierre's same kind of fight style.
I guess I can only shoot him when he's on the stairs.
You can even cheese these guys by shooting their back and staying consistently behind them, and they will just slowly try to turn and face you until they die. The biggest difference that caught me off guard is that they can climb now. Climb.
Oh shit, he's coming. Oh, he's too weak though. I did not know that he was gonna fucking do that.
Climb. Since the opera house is largely abandoned, or appears to be, maybe you could call it a tomb. I mean, it certainly has booby traps.
What? Where? Really?
Once you make your way through here, you fight almost a mini-boss.
Ooh, fuck. Oh wait, no, we're good. Wait, no, we're not. Whoa! Did you see that guy? His outfit. He was trying to distract me with his low poly abs.
And find a small plane? Okay, so I made a little map of how I think this works, okay? So here we have the hideout, right? And there was water next to the door. But then the entrance to the opera house is kind of this weird little greenhouse thing, and then you go down. So in theory, this would be underwater, but then bam, there's a plane on the water right there. So how does this work? We enter the plane and get a cutscene where we listen to Marco Bartoli talk. He says that his dad left when he was a kid, but he was right to do it because he had the mark of the dragon, and so does Marco. So Marco's following in his father's footsteps to get the dagger. Listen, I don't know. I think Marco's smoking that copium. Clumsy ass Lara here makes too much sound in the back of the plane, so they find her and trap her in the offshore rig. Luckily for Lara, they forgot that she can push blocks apparently because the lock to the door is inside the room she's locked in, so she can get out very easily. The catch is that they took her guns, so now we gotta run through this offshore rig until we find our weapons and make our way out. This introduces us to several of our new guns, which all have different shoot rates and power, similar to the first game. Making our way through the rig, we encounter various trials and tribulations. Before we run into this guy who apparently Bartoli and his thugs have been torturing for information. He tells Lara he is the monk from a monastery in Tibet that has been trying to prevent people from getting the seraph that opens the door to the dagger, and that Marco Bartoli's henchmen have been going on underwater expeditions to find the ship owned by Giovanni Bartoli, Marco Bartoli's dad, that was bombed by the monks to prevent Giovanni from using the seraph. So the seraph is still on that underwater ship. During this conversation, Lara is also changing into a scuba suit in front of the monk that she found hanging on the wall, and it happens to be the perfect size for her. She even throws her boot back while she's changing, and it nearly hits the monk in the face. After the monk divulges all that information to us, Marco just pops out and shoots the monk in the head, and the submarine parked in front of Lara starts heading for the ocean. So she grabs on and heads underwater. I'm assuming her plan was to steal it, but I guess there was already a dude waiting to head off in the submarine or something? And so we head off to the next chapter, into the deep sea. Lara heads to the bottom of the ocean just by holding on to the back of the submarine. She's basically a superhero, I don't know what to tell you. The submarine is attacked by sharks, causing it to crash, and I assume killing the person who was manning the submarine. I can't fathom how scary this would be. Yeah, like deep sea shit is scary. It's scary. It's scary. So now we can add sharks to the list of endangered animals that Lara kills. Actually, white sharks aren't endangered right now. They're just threatened. Not after Lara's done with them. Okay, so put those grippers away. We run through this rusty-ass underwater ship completely barefoot. Why couldn't there have been water shoes in her exact size next to the scuba suit? As you might guess, this level has lots of water enemies, so this is when we really make use of that harpoon gun. Except it sucks. All the other guns in this game auto-lock onto targets, except for this one. And the divers, even though they're shooting you, always swim right into you and shoot you at the same time. But when you shoot back while they're phased into you like this, your shots miss, unlike theirs. So my entire playthrough, I avoided using this gun as much as possible and always tried to lure stuff to where I could shoot them with my regular gun from the ground. L harpoon gun. Harpoon gun goes in F tier of the tier list of Tomb Raider things. Fuck the harpoon gun. All my homies hate the harpoon gun. L harpoon gun. If you want to see the way that I rank the rest of these items, then consider checking out my new Patreon. Patrons will be credited at the end of each video, exclusive content such as the tier list video. So if you want to support me and the content, consider going and having a little look at it. Now back to the video. All this rust and stuff eventually leads us to Marco Bartoli's dad's sunken ship, which apparently Marco's henchmen have already found. I imagine they don't get good cell phone reception down here, so they can't exactly let him know. Have you noticed that all of Marco Bartoli's henchmen are built like Popeye?
Think you're smart, huh? I'll take this huge and whip it into a rod.
Where is he finding these guys? This is my favorite level aesthetically speaking. I love the teals and the blues and the kind of Titanic-esque visuals we have going here. I know by today's standards, these graphics are nothing to sneeze at, but after playing the first game, it makes me really appreciate the little things in this. So if you've seen my previous video on Tomb Raider 1, you might be wondering at this point if this game has the same horror element that Tomb Raider 1 has. I'm sad to say that there are no skin walls, but the worst fucking sound. Ah! 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 Oh my god! Ah! Why is it always dog? Try jumping. Ah! Look, see, there's like an egg sack. Oh my god, gross. No, 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 no. It did scare me a lot. This game has some added suspense of knowing an enemy is somewhere in the room with you, and even after checking all angles of a room, it will just appear behind you. This genuinely tested the health of my heart.
I hear a wrench guy, but I don't know where he is. Where? Where? I was checking all angles at a fucking constant and he's behind me? That doesn't make any sense.
Even without the added stakes of losing a save and going all the way back to who knows when. Most of the time, I was desperately trying to preserve my health, and sometimes enemies wouldn't drop anything. Even with having saved recently, seeing one enemy is scary because they can down you super fast, and you have to hope they drop some health if you manage to down them first. On top of that, sometimes even if they do drop health, the enemy might phase through a wall or something, making that pickup impossible to grab. Or something like this will happen.
Laura, what the fuck? No, Laura!
Fortunately, if this does happen, if you've been saving, you can reload and try to kill them in a less weird position to grab the pickup. Even though I nearly jumped out of my skin at times, it's one of the elements of Tomb Raider that make it special to me. Maybe I'm just a scaredy cat, but I love that in a puzzle platforming adventure game, I'm getting scared sometimes as hard as I got scared in Resident Evil. I'm so glad it followed the same format that the original game did, and it makes me wonder if it was intentional. In an interview for the Core Design fan site with Heather Gibson, who was one of the lead level designers in Tomb Raider 1 and 2, when she was asked about how the concept of Atlantis was created, that's the level with the flesh walls, she replied, "Yes. Didn't Atlantis turn out wild or possibly weird? That might have been partly due to the textures. Neil didn't have the time to do his textures for this level, so I supplied them for him. I was looking into more bizarre sources for my textures library when Gavin arrived one day with a human anatomy book used by the medical profession, perfect for me to use as a basis for some very unnerving and surreal textures." So clearly they had the idea to go surrealist for the Atlantis levels, but the idea that she saw a human anatomy book and was just like, "Perfect," is hilarious to me. What? What do you mean? The Maria Doria shipwreck is a really cool level because it's parts of a ship that have broken off, so you end up in different sections, making it quite a large level, which also means Lara spends a hell of a long time completely barefoot running around in wreckage. Youch! Eventually though, we do find the Seraph locked away in a room, and we get this cutscene, which leaves me with so many questions. So after finding the Seraph, Laura just uses a balloon to come up to the surface, which happens to be right under the offshore rig. So either she swam back to the submarine just went straight down to find the shipwreck, which they had apparently been looking for like a while, or she just knew where the fuck she was, and then she just is a pro navigator. Then she gets her clothes back from the rig and steals a plane from Marco Bartoli, because apparently she can fly a plane. And I guess her and Marco are the same size because while she's in the plane, she sees a winter coat and decides to wear it. Still no pants though. But look how this coat fits her. My personal theory is that not only was the jacket Marco Bartoli's, but so was the scuba suit that she wears with the shorts. I love to think that Marco Bartoli is just really baby girl, just shows up in his like little outfits. At this point in the game, I had no idea why we came here. I thought we had the thing that we needed to open the door. The last cutscene didn't really give us any information, so I was really confused. Lara also crashes the plane when she arrives, which honestly, she flies a pretty far distance before crashing, so I'm gonna blame this on the plane. As soon as we arrive, what does Lara do? Kills another animal. You guessed it! This time a golden eagle, which is not endangered, I guess. So that's a win? After some epic mountain climbing, we find some of Marco's henchmen and a snowmobile, making me feel right at home. When we hop on the snowmobile here, it starts playing this epic trek. Burp, 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 burp.
No, the music!
music! There's a small issue with the circumstantial music in this game where if you pick something up or save and load in while it's playing, it will stop. So it kind of changes the epic feeling of the moment when it's just the whirring sound of the snowmobile. Maybe it's me, but I personally had a lot of trouble with the snowmobile. The physics on it seemed kind of fucked up at times, and sometimes it felt like it exploded at random. What? It was one of the most janky parts of the game for me. There's this whole section where you're supposed to go through an obstacle course on the snowmobile, and it's really difficult. Wait. And just when I finally had it. What? In the same interview I mentioned earlier with Heather Gibson, she stated that the most challenging aspect of making levels was the vehicles. Apparently they didn't have vehicles yet when they made the levels, so they just kind of had to guess and hope it worked, which I think is most apparent with the snowmobile stuff. Is that really where I left my snowmobile? So maybe it wasn't just me that was thinking that the snowmobile was kind of janky. Once we finally made our way out of the obstacle course, there is a guy on a snowmobile who comes to fight us. That is really difficult. Even more difficult for me because I had like no health at this point, and he mows you down super quick with his snowmobile gun.
How is the snowmobile so much stronger than mine?
So I ended up just running away from him and fighting him later, which led me to this kind of awkward moment, which shows off one of the things I like about this game.
Wait, this one's different than the other ones. The speed button shoots guns. Maybe I could go up the side here? That seems like a possible option. All right. I don't think that's what I was supposed to do, but that's what I did.
It feels good to be able to get creative with your solutions to things, even though it feels like it's not the correct way to go for it. After that is when we get to a monastery in Tibet. Remember the monk earlier? That's why we came to this monastery in Tibet. I hope you've been taking notes. Upon our arrival to the monastery, we see some of Marco's henchmen beating up the monks, so I tried to help out, and in doing so, I accidentally shot a monk.
What? Wait, why would he fight me? Ow! Wait, is it because I accidentally killed his friend?
Yeah, I think he's mad because you killed his friend. Luckily, I was curious enough to wonder if they were supposed to be mad at me and reloaded and tried to avoid shooting the monks, which this time made them friendly. Really cool feature they added into this game, honestly. I can't imagine how much more difficult this level would have been if I didn't think to reload. It's kind of hard not to aggravate the monks while you're here because Lara auto-aims at them while you're trying to fight Marco's henchmen alongside the monks. I mean, I understand that it auto-aims at them because if you did aggro them, you're going to want it that way, but it does make helping them so much more difficult. The monastery is a funny place because it's covered with crazy booby traps, not just like rolling boulders that can be explained by architecture being old, like the opera house.
Yes. Of course. The classic moving blade room.
But like full-blown rooms with saw blades guarding a key, plus the boulders.
I like the sound of like her foot. Oh!
So yeah, it turns out the monks are impervious to damage from their own traps. That makes sense as to why they have these everywhere, I guess.
You seem like an endangered species. Can you stop moving so I can get cut in half?
So the goal here is to collect the prayer cylinders and put them into spots to open a door. That has a spot for the seraph, which then opens a door to the basement of the monastery. I misunderstood what he said without subtitles. I was trying to make sense of it with context clues. The seraph is the key to the door in their monastery that contains a malignant treasure, which they've been keeping subdued through prayer. If Marco or his father were to get it, it could be deadly because they're violent and infected with madness. So the dagger and whatever is on the back burner while they try to get that shit. So now we're in their basement, which is apparently catacombs, although I see no dead bodies.
Why is there... Ah! Ah!
Of course, it's a new level, so we had to kill a new animal. This time one so rare that we don't even have proof it even exists. Although they scare the shit out of me many, many times.
This is not good. Okay, that helps a bit. Oh my god! How did they get down here?
Welcome.
This level feels like classic Tomb Raider more than any level so far. Plus, we kill another animal, the white tiger, which is a rare genetic mutation on the Bengal tiger. Another rare animal to the list of rare animals that Lara has killed. This is so awesome, Lara. So in here, we find and enter an ice palace that leads us to a gong, which we ring. Underneath it has a talon, which I can't remember anyone mentioning at this point, so I don't know what it's for. Hello? That scared me so bad. So that's what the gong does. That boss scared the absolute shit out of me, but I beat it easily by cheesing it.
Bird person can't see you if you stand in the crack. Yeah.
Rest in peace, another endangered animal. What's crazier is after that, Lara leaves the palace where outside she sees Marco's crew and she steals a car from them, getting into a high-speed chase.
What the fuck? People actually leave their keys in the mirror? I mean, what?
From there, she drives straight to the Great Wall of China. Quick little 53-hour road trip over to the Great Wall in a stolen car. Seems like a good idea. Good job, Lara. Once there, she uses the talon to open the door? So what was all of this about the right person at the right time? Was that even real? What about Marco Bartoli's dad who left? Did any of that matter? Was the malignant treasure the key to the door, or was it the giant bird? What is going on? We run up to grab the dagger, but instead fall into a trap that leads us far below the dagger. This level is pretty cool. It's very difficult and has lots of precarious jumping, which I appreciate. Well, appreciate watching.
Oh no!
I did that completely flawlessly. It was really frustrating at the time, but that's what I love about Tomb Raider. We climb and maneuver our way back to where the dagger is, but what do you know? There is Marco Bartoli doing the ritual as we walk in, because Lara here left the door wide open and triggered the trap, so all he had to do was walk in and do his thing. Can you believe this shit? This leads us to our final level, which has a bunch of green goo all over it and black skies. Visually, I really like this as a level. The black skies and heavy platforming remind me a lot of Mario 64 levels, but it kind of gives off this underworld type of feeling, which I enjoy a lot. There's floating jade warriors that come to kill you for some reason.
Okay, so I need to get down there and pull that lever, but how the fuck would I get back up? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! Why do they keep flying through walls?
And a bunch of Bartoli's gunmen trying to stop you from reaching him. But eventually we make it there and watch Bartoli transform into a dragon.
Oh shit! Oh! And I'm gonna die. Alright.
Is it just me, or does it seem like the T-Rex from Tomb Raider 1 was actually bigger than this dragon? We spent all this time trying to stop this guy from getting this crazy power. You'd think it would be a little bit more intimidating. Regardless of how intimidating he looks though, this boss fight is a bitch. It took a lot out of me. He can hear you when you go underwater and his fire attacks reach far, but no matter how much I damaged him, he wouldn't die. He'd only go down for a short period. So it was about an hour of fighting him until someone from my chat, with my permission, told me I had to go pull the dagger out of his stomach. I feel so silly that I didn't think to check the stomach when that's what the whole story was about. I didn't notice any visual indication that I had to run over there, so I just didn't. This whole fight could have been done in 15 minutes if I had realized. So Lara runs away and makes it home. We're finally done, but Marco Bartoli's henchmen have other plans. How they found her address? I don't know. Maybe she made the classic rookie mistake of leaving her laptop next to a campfire with a picture of her front door on it. So here's where you finally find out what this key situation was for in the mansion tutorial level. Lara's armory. And you fight these guys in your bathrobe in the middle of the night. It makes it that much more rewarding if you actually explored her mansion a little bit in the beginning, because that way you know the grounds. Finally, when you finish them all off, you get this cute little shower tease from Lara, because of course you do.
How? No way! Oh my god, what? That's how it ends?
So, as a zoomer, what do I think of this game now that it's complete? Well, frankly, I Loved it. I love the enemies, I love the scares, I love the details in each level and the designs. I love the puzzles, I love the whole thing. Many people complain about the original Tomb Raider's controls. Some people even going as far as to say they're unplayable, especially to the modern gamer. But as a Zoomer, whose first games were Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario, who's been playing 3D platformers for a long time, and I'd like to challenge this thinking. Don't get me wrong, I've called these controls janky before, but the more I've played these games, the more I've realized they're really not all that janky. Let me explain. These games are really difficult, but they're not difficult because the controls are done poorly. They're difficult because they're difficult. Tomb Raider 2 allows you to save any time, so all of the difficulty that I felt was like artificial difficulty has been removed. But the thing is, it's not like the jumps are pixel precise or you phase through platforms you're not supposed to. They just feel stiff compared to modern controls. The thing is though, that the controls are monumental to the level design, and themselves are a part of the puzzle you're trying to solve. Each movement matters when it comes to platforming with Lara. Maybe you should give this one a chance if you like a challenge. I would say this game was fantastic. I would give it 4.5 out of 5 baby girl Marco Bartoli's, and this game is Zoomer approved! Subscribe.